Jeff, I want to ask you a question because you're my wide receiver whisperer about this, and you played wide receiver, so you understand this. Are the routes a problem because the receivers are having to fight off the line, and they're having to hurry the routes because they think the protection is not good enough? I mean, are you running the routes shorter, thinking that the ball is going to have to get out quicker?
That's a good question. And I think I'd have to go looking for it to have a good answer.
Yeah. But I mean, just when you played the position,
right.
when you used to fight routes, when you used to fight to get off the line, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, if I'm free access, I run the route at the right depth.
Right.
If I get knocked around at the line, there's that little bit of time I have to take to try and separate.
Yeah.
And then you're trying to get into the route quicker. You think that's what Jerry's kind of talking about there, that the route depth is not good enough because guys like Cedric Wilson and Noah Brown and maybe CeeDee Lamb and others have not got the depth because they're having to face more press coverage?
Maybe, and I think also like in every time there's something wrong in football, I think the answer is going to have like 6 prongs to it. And I think if wide receivers aren't accustomed to seeing a bunch of press coverage, then naturally, hey, our timing got thrown off because we weren't beating it, because he held me up for a half second. Dak's on a 3-step drop, and on step 3, guess what? I'm still wrestling.
Yeah.
So now what's he going to do? Move on to his next read, or so I think every position group is going to have some culpability in what is going on, but I think that could definitely be part of it.
Yeah, I just kind of feel like, though, that if Jerry's telling me that routes are shorter, that tells me that the receivers aren't having free access like they had earlier in the year. And if you watch the tape, the Denver blueprint, whatever you want to say, Denver walked up on you and challenged you at the line of scrimmage. Kansas City challenged you at the line of scrimmage. Teams are challenging you, Raiders, challenging you more at the line of scrimmage.
And so now in a slant, instead of going 3 steps and slanting,
Yes.
you're going to slant short of 3-step depth because you're tired of wrestling the whole route and you're just trying to get to the route.
You have fought to get off the line, and now you're free, and now the quarterback has got Terrence Steele in his lap, and he doesn't have time to sit there and wait for you to continue to wrestle with Patrick Surtain out there.
I love what you guys are saying. And then to me, as you finally do get into your route, now the line is breaking down.
Absolutely.
So instead of Dak standing there waiting for you to beat your guy and develop your route, now he's got to improvise way earlier.
Yeah, he has got to. He knows in his head, they talk about the quarterback clock, and he's like, "All right, bro, I know I'm going to throw you this. I'm going to throw you this in, and if you're not there, I got to go somewhere else." But sometimes he can't even get to somewhere else. Because I'm sure there's people, if you really watch film, there's routes that do break open. Yeah. But he in the first 6 weeks, a little bit more time to make that happen. And that's with some routes that were played with free access.
Okay.
I just kind of feel like that it's a combination of Dak has missed some throws, line hasn't played great, wide receivers and maybe some guys like Wilson and Brown and those guys who've had to play a lot more the last couple of weeks not winning off the line.
And that's where, I guess, if your line is breaking down and your receivers aren't open quick enough, that's when the quarterback runs if nobody's open.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's a big thing. And I think the way you guys explained it was really interesting and convincing to me. As I go into this segment, I think, man, if it's not injuries, I don't know what it is. But those two things combined, your receivers are getting mugged. Yeah. And then by the time they get open, you have a very small window of time before your offensive lineman, somebody in there is going to break down.
Yeah. I think, I heard Jerry say that, and I wanted to ask Jeff because he's played the position. And I know that when you're fighting off the line, it takes, if you release quick, you get into your route and you kind of, you're able to do all the things. We've seen Amari Cooper. Amari shakes his guy, and it's like the slant, and then bam, he plants the foot, and now he's to the outside, and he's spinning guys around. Yeah. And that's the route. But if other than that, if he gets held at the line, maybe you don't get the slant, maybe you don't get the plant, and then maybe you don't get to the outside. Mm-hmm. So the route is compromised because the cornerback won on the line.
Is the offensive line getting to the end of its life cycle as a good unit?
I think in a couple of spots right now.
There.
Yeah. I think so.
So what is the answer? If it's not running quarterback, what do you do when you have a stationary quarterback in this situation? Your line's not holding. Do you just not win? Is this the present and the future for the Cowboys now?
I do think and I'll tease ahead a little bit here. Kurt Warner did a great breakdown of the Cowboys offense against the Saints. And spoiler alert, the answer is going to be a little bit of everything. But obviously, as a quarterback, he's breaking down the decision-making and all those sorts of things. And in terms of what is the answer, it is either block better or change your offense, I think. Because to me, it looks like you've got a quarterback who has been pressured a good amount this year. The Cowboys are 24th in pass block win rate on their offensive line.
Yeah.
And it is now affecting him. See, I don't want to have the hard opinion that like nothing physically is bothering Dak, but when I'm watching him play and watching him make the throws and process things, like I watch him roll left, I watch him roll right. He's throwing accurate balls. So I'm not going to attribute it to injury. I see a guy that they don't protect him well enough to make the plays that he wants to make, to the point now that on 3 or 4 plays against New Orleans, they did protect him well enough. And he rushed his reads or he bailed on a pocket. So what you would call, and this has happened to every quarterback in football, this happened to Tom Brady in New England. I think Dak, to some extent, is seeing ghosts because he's used to either his center or his left guard or whoever getting beat, to where he's whipping through reads in a hurry. He's not being patient enough on this read. He's stepping out of the pocket when he didn't have to and something's about to come open. I think the biggest issue is that the protection, and in a couple of ways getting unlucky, where teams for the most part are playing a single high safety. They're coming down and they want things to happen quickly. Well, the Cowboys against the Saints called 2 plays with the sole intent of, we know that's how they're playing us. Get ready. This one's 6 points. Saints ran 2 deep on those 2 plays.
Yeah.
So it's like, crap, you called the right defense because we were about to take a shot. So it's tons of things. But I think in this last game, watching Dak play, I'm like, that's a guy that's expecting to be pressured even when he's not.